Welcome to Dreamers and Doers. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am one of the hosts, Julie Russell, a local psychotherapist here in southeastern Connecticut. My co-host, Lisa Saunders, is an author of 6 books and counting.
Yes, just finished another one, Lisa's Guide to Writing.
Lisa's Guide to Writing. For all of those that want to know how to publish or improve their writing skills, they can check out Lisa Saunders. Now, today we have a very special guest with us from New Hampshire, Allie Grant. Allie, you are a harpist with quite an impressive music background in a relatively short amount of time.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? But first, I think that our guests, and I know I would like to hear, what does the harp sound like?
Well, it can sound like many things, but I will give you a little sample of one of the songs I'm working on. So that's just one of the
Wow.
things that a harp can sound like.
That just
That's
makes me think of
beautiful.
little angels, and is that like a song that people use when somebody dies and the angels come to get them in a movie or something?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's called Dances Sacrées and Profane by Debussy.
And this is like what country is he from?
He's French.
He's French,
Yeah.
wow. Wow, how long have you been playing?
About 9 years.
9. Are we
Yeah.
allowed to ask you how old you are on TV?
17 years old.
Oh my gosh. So that means you started at
8.
8 and a half. Yeah.
8 and a half?
Yeah.
What happened? You woke up one morning and said, Mom, Dad, I want to learn how to play the harp. Like, what happened?
It was an ongoing thing. I had tried many instruments. I started on piano for 2 years.
At what age?
Oh, 5
Wait.
or 6.
So you
something
started
like.
young.
Yeah, and I had always loved music. I was also ballerina, so I had the dancing background with music. And so then, I was like, oh, I really want to try another instrument, and none of the other instruments I had liked. So I said, oh, why don't we try harp? So me and my mom.
That was your idea. Why
Yeah.
don't I try a harp?
Yeah.
Like, where did you even see somebody playing a harp? I hardly ever see somebody playing a harp.
I had seen it in orchestras. I had seen it in other concerts that we had gone to, and I was like, that is amazing. It makes such gorgeous music. And I had seen, these, ladies in dresses, these gorgeous gowns, and I was like, I want to do that.
When
Yeah.
I think of harps, I definitely think of weddings and Renaissance festivals.
Yes, it can also be used in orchestras. It can be used in jazz concerts. It can be used in chamber music where it's only like a few musicians playing together. There are so many versatile styles that a harp can be used in.
Now, you have played quite a few places. Can you give me the highlights?
Well, first of all, I'm the principal harpist with the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. I've also played with the New England Conservatory Prep School Orchestra and the Baroque Chamber Orchestra. I won a concerto actually with that Baroque Chamber Orchestra. That was my first concerto. Then I won another concerto competition with the BISO orchestras. I've played for weddings, chamber orchestras, galas. I've done studio recordings. I've even played in the pit orchestra for the Boston Ballet. I've done
Wow.
semi-staged operas.
You're 17? Oh my gosh.
How old were you when you started with traveling to play?
Really, the harp, you always have to travel with a harp to get anywhere. I mean, my harp teacher was like probably 30 minutes away, but as soon as I joined my first orchestra, I was in Boston. We're in New Hampshire, so we usually had to drive 45 minutes to Boston anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely a traveling instrument.
All right,
for us
so
at
you have
least.
to
And
travel.
it looks so compact.
Yeah. Now, do you have any idea how much this weighs, and how do you get it from place to place?
It weighs about 89 pounds.
How much?
And 89 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have a van, so we lay it down sideways. Basically, you kind of lay it down sideways. We have a padded cover that we put over it to keep it safe.
Okay.
We lay it down in our at the back of our van. We only have 3 seats in our van. We had to take the rest out.
Oh wow! So this is a big family thing. Like
Yeah.
your van, or people that keep dogs have to have special cars outfitted. You have to have your
Exactly.
car ready to take this harp anywhere.
Yeah, and I also have my bench and stand because some places don't provide one.
Okay.
Many
So you
orchestras
always
don't have them.
bring it. Okay.
Yeah. That's about it for transport. We also have like a cart because it's so heavy. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so you pull that around. Can you play something else, like just something that maybe people would? You know what I love the harp for is there. So many times my husband and I will walk out of a restaurant. Not so much him, but I will walk out of a restaurant because the music is too loud.
Yeah.
I go out to eat so Jim and I can talk.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it when there's a loud band. But I love one restaurant, the Fisherman has harp on Sunday afternoons.
Oh, nice.
I love that. Is that and she played, I was shocked when she was playing music I actually recognized, like stuff from show tunes. I thought it would only be angel music.
Well,
or
I mean,
classical.
I have, Over the Rainbow.
Oh.
I even have tango music.
Would it be too much to ask to play Over the Rainbow?
I could just play the opening.
Okay, yeah, I mean, nothing more than like 15 seconds just to get us excited.
Yeah. And after that, I can also show you the different sounds that the harp can make.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That'd be great.
So.
Oh, that made me cry. It just brought back such happy memories of watching that movie.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
I actually recently did this for a wedding. So.
Did you? I bet
Yes.
everybody in the audience cried because they recognized that song. Like, who doesn't recognize
it's a wonderful
that?
song. So basically what I'm going to do now is there are so many different ways you can play a harp. I mean, there's the plucking, but there's also something called étouffée.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like étouffée?
yeah, and it's basically done by kind of going like, so because like the harp, when you play the strings, it rings. And there's no way to like make really short notes. So you have to muffle the notes, you have to put your hand on the notes to stop them.
Oh, wow.
Let's see, I'll just play an
So-
excerpt, and this is from a tango actually. So that's étouffée, and that's
That
short notes.
It's interesting, Allie, in New Orleans, where I've spent a large portion of my life.
Yeah.
Étouffée is a dish that people put a little bit of this and a little bit of that
Oh,
in.
I didn't know that.
And
Is that something like related to the music? Is that why they call it that?
I never really thought about it. It's kind of like étouffée, a little jambalaya,
Yeah.
crawfish
That's very
pie.
interesting, actually.
It is. People use music for so many different things. A tango, for my reference, usually is kind of happy dancing music.
Yeah, it's very percussive. Yeah.
Right. And then what you mentioned earlier, Lisa, is that many people use music as a background or to set a mood or perhaps to soothe them down.
Yeah. So the next sound that a harp can make is called a harmonic, and it's done by kind of pressing the heel of your hand down on the string and putting your thumb there, so it kind of makes that bell-like sound.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only one place in the string you can actually make the sound. Any other place, like it doesn't sound as nice. So you could. So I can put that in context. This is actually from Danses Sacrées Profane. This is from the Danse Profane by Debussy, who was a French composer. So that's the harmonic. And then we also have, let's see, we have prélude table, which is essentially when you go down close to the soundboard. This is called the soundboard. And it kind of makes that kind of twangy sound. And it kind of makes a different sound rather than that nice resonant sound in the beginning.
Do you have a song that makes you cry? Like one that just, like your hands just look so lovely. I mean, is that something they teach you to float your hands around to give everybody like in the mood? Or is that you do really have to float your hands around while you're
Actually,
playing?
no, it's definitely a set technique. I mean, because if you play a harp wrong or you play a wrong technique, you can get injured. And like, because I have very small hands, and like most harpists are like kind of like thicker boned, so I had to be very careful not to injure myself. So like, say, you know, I wanted to like play like this would really strain my hands. So like, I have to learn to play with my thumbs up and with my wrists in, so I don't injure myself and so I get the biggest sound, because it's also about sound production.
Now you also showed us that you had to warm up, so this isn't just something you sit down and play. And I thought, well, why do you have to warm up? You know, like I have to do foot exercises before I take a long walk, and
same exact thing.
And I just shocked that you have to do that.
Yeah, it's for any exercising you have to warm up. Harp is the same thing. It's like exercising your hands and your arms.
Wow.
Like the voice chords. I always think of the Sound of Music.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
So the other interesting sound that a harp can make is called playing the string with your nail, and it's actually very interesting, and it's more in modern music or international music that you'll find this type of technique.
So less classical.
Yes, yeah. And it's essentially, I have very short nails because you can't really have long nails when you play the harp, otherwise it gets twangy all the time. But like, you can put your nail on the string, go. So it makes that kind of nasty sound, and it's like. And that was this example from one of my songs called The Jade Temple.
Well, that is interesting. Certainly the harp can play more sounds than I thought.
Yes.
Or I even recognized. We're going to take a break for a public service announcement now, and we will be back in just a minute to discuss more about Allie Grant and her experience with the harp. Thank you.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut tree, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you.
Okay.
Hi. Brown.
Hi, thanks for coming back after the public service announcement. We have Lisa Saunders, local author. I'm Julie Russell, a psychotherapist here in southeastern Connecticut, and today we have Allie Grant on our show. She's a harpist, and her recordings can be found on YouTube, and you have played considerably in Massachusetts, Boston, and throughout New England.
Yes.
You had told us a little bit about the different types of music. Are there more?
Yes, and actually I can show you some more sounds that a harp can make. There's also the xylophone sound, and this is definitely more towards the modern style of music. And essentially all it is you press your fingers against the strings on the soundboard, and then you play the strings up here with your right hand. It goes.
Oh, it does sound like a little ping pong going over the xylophone keys.
And like that. So that's definitely found in modern music. I'm not sure.
Well, Allie, what were the steps for you? You were about 8 when you said, I think I'll try the harp.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're touring New England, playing private shows and competing. How did you get from
starting like with a teacher.
Yeah, from this
Essentially.
little idea
Yeah.
to having a special van to hold a 90-pound instrument.
Well, we did our research before we started the harp, and we started renting harps first. We got like a small lever harp that was probably like this small, and we rented it from my teacher. And then, I was like, okay, I really want to start down this path more. So then we rented a bigger lever harp as I started to get taller. And then my teacher's like, oh, you're ready, to go into a pedal harp, because of the music I was playing, I no longer could use the levers, because the levers on a lever harp, they're all up here, to change the note, the flat or sharp of the string. Whereas on a pedal harp, you have all of these pedals down here, so you can press them with your feet and play at the same time.
Okay, so
that's
what
you're
are the
pressing.
different parts of the harp?
Yes.
You have pedals and
Yeah.
strings.
And when you press a pedal, the strings up here, there's levers or little pegs that press against the string to make it flat, sharp, natural.
Oh gosh.
So like these change each of the strings. Like if I play the red string, which is a C string, all of these will change. All of the red strings will change when I press the C pedal. So essentially, if that's flat, and you can actually hear them cling against the strings, and that's actually another sound a harp can make, and that's in very modern music, where you can actually do a pedal slide, and it makes a kind of nasty sound, but like that.
It sounds like you're in a suspense movie.
Yes.
Dun, dun,
And I
dun.
actually have a song that's in, and let me find it.
Yeah, well, what amazes me is that you've kind of had to grow into this, literally,
Yes.
since you started as a child.
Yes. So this is it's called Makmat, and it's by Ami Mayani. He's an Israeli composer, so this goes more into the international music as well as modern harp music. And this is just an excerpt from it, and it has the pedal slide. And so essentially it gives that nasty, gritty
Do you
sound.
hear, when you're watching movies, do you hear the harp being played?
Definitely. Yes,
'Cause
now
it
that I've been
seems
playing
like,
it, and
wow,
I'm
it
like,
seems
oh,
like
there's
such-
a harp, and oh, there's a harkless.
It seems like such movie music to
Yes,
me.
harp is very widely used in soundtracks, and that's actually something that I'm really hoping maybe to go into,
Really?
is doing the soundtracks behind movies and being in the studio orchestra.
Now, how would you get to that step? Like, how would you get into that world of doing that? What would be the next step?
I guess it's just you probably want to go to a conservatory or a music school. I'm applying to Eastman, Juilliard, New England Conservatory, and then you really look for if there's any openings, or if any of your friends are movie composers. So then you kind of edge your way in that.
Some of it's
by
like
getting
networking, just
contacts.
like anything else. You need to be going to certain events, meeting certain people.
Exactly.
Okay, and
And
you're
I f-
hoping that they're hearing you play.
And I find that's the way I've gotten other gigs, is that I've been playing with an orchestra, and somebody was like, oh, somebody gave me your contact information, and could you play for this? And I happen to see you play here. And that's how I've, made contacts and networking through that way.
Now, how somebody watching this show, how can they find you? You said that they can find you on YouTube. What do they need to plug in to find you on YouTube?
I'm on YouTube as Alethea Grant, so it's Alethea. And then just after that, put Harpist.
Now, will they have your if they find you and they're listening to a piece, is your contact information somewhere in the description?
No, unfortunately, it's not.
So how would somebody get in touch with you? Do you have an email address or some way?
I play with the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra.
So if they can contact them.
They could probably find my contact.
They
Okay,
will-
so through
okay.
the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra,
Yes.
they can contact Allie Grant
Yes.
for harp.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
terrific.
Yep.
Now, this seems like it started out as an idea, and it really has turned into a dream, and it's part of how you define yourself.
Exactly, yes. Harp has become such a major part of my life. I mean, I always look forward to, the Sunday rehearsals with my orchestra in Boston, and I've made so many wonderful friends there. And, all the gigs and all the music. I mean, I have a whole, shelf and a half worth of harp music that I've, learned and it's really been a journey for me.
Well, it sounds like it's also turned into a community, a network of friends.
It has
And where you see your future going.
Well, I'm hoping to apply to conservatories and music schools, but as well as possibly pursuing the medical field as
okay,
a city
that's a
job.
switch.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Uh-huh.
and I'm trying to balance both worlds, and
Right.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Don't they say learning music helps you learn math or something? Is there? I don't know.
For
if I'm
me,
making
math
that
is
up.
always hard, but we won't discuss that.
Okay.
Yeah, so music is an amazing asset for me.
But honestly, this harp looks so much harder than any other instrument I've seen. Now maybe it's not.
It is very hard.
But it just seems like it is because
Yeah.
you're having to work pedals, your fingers, you're having to exercise your fingers, you're having to drag this thing around.
It was very challenging at first because my fingers were very sensitive to like plucking the strings, so I would have to wear Band-Aids on my fingers.
Oh wow!
Until now I don't really have calluses, but they're tougher. But I still I can't play more than an hour at a time because my arms will start to hurt.
And now, could this be carpal tunnel syndrome, things that
Possibly
could come up?
tendinitis,
Like you
yeah.
just have to be careful, and that's why you're working
Yes.
out.
And that's why I warm up. And other things, memorization is very hard for me, and for many competitions, you have to memorize the pieces. So you
Okay.
can play without a stand, without a book, and without the music. And for me, that was very hard at first.
So that's where all the practice comes in. But if you can only practice an hour at a time, how do you memorize? Like,
it's just I would play with a metronome, which is essentially, it keeps me on the beat.
what's that thing that
Tick-tock,
goes tick
tick-tock.
tock?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I basically memorize by sections, and I memorize the pedals at first, so it's definitely a process.
Well, also, this is something that I'm sure was daunting for an 8-year-old, but at 17, it must be much more natural.
It is natural, yes.
Yeah.
The things that come naturally to me is probably the musicality, and I just
What does that
love.
mean?
Essentially, it's how you interpret the piece and the sound, and definitely dynamics, like how loud or quiet it is, and that just really came naturally to me.
So for you, perhaps, Lisa, writing might come naturally to you.
Yes, like my great aunt was a pretty renowned pianist, and she finally heard me play. She was in her 80s, 90s. She was still teaching lessons, only to like really top students. And she finally heard me play in 7th grade. And after she heard my little piece, she said, "Well, if you work hard, you can become a page turner." Okay, I'm never playing for her again. But to me, it was very hard to
Now,
learn how to play.
Is that the grandmother you talk about in your book, Riding a Horse, Not an Elephant?
No, this is a different aunt who she actually got trapped during World War II over in Austria or somewhere when she was playing on tour. But anyway,
Yeah,
so she
think-
had it. I don't have it. You must have it because you actually wanted to do this. It's not like you were tortured into doing this.
Yeah.
You wanted
And,
to do this.
sometimes at first practicing was hard because I didn't want to concentrate that much, but then I found pieces that I absolutely loved, and so then I was like, okay, I really wanted to be doing this. Yeah.
Terrific. Well, can you play a little bit of one of your favorite pieces?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something,
actually,
yeah.
I'll play.
And we have like 6 minutes left to the show, so I
Okay.
mean, not that you would play that long, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, just play something that
You
that you
love.
enjoy.
Yeah, and I'll
Because it is actually fun to not just to hear you, but it's fun to watch your hands. How you do look like you've taken ballet or something because
Yes.
your hands are just little butterflies.
Yeah. Now, this is actually a very special piece for me because this actually comes from a ballet. This is from the Nutcracker Ballet by Tchaikovsky, and this is the harp cadenza at the beginning of the Waltz of the Flowers.
Ah. Wow. Again, that's one of those tearjerkers because it just brings back memories.
Yes.
That's really, really, very, very,
And I actually got
pretty.
a chance to play this in one of my orchestras, and I was like, oh, this is lovely, but I'm not on stage.
How many hours each week are you devoting to the harp now at this stage?
Well, per day, I generally practice only an hour a day. Yeah, and like then I have the orchestra rehearsals on Sundays, which goes, I have chamber music in the morning, so it goes anywhere from like, we're there from 9 till 5:30, 5:45.
Really?
Yeah. We get, half-hour breaks between rehearsals.
Yeah, but still, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Do they yell at you and stuff and slap your hands
No,
with rulers?
no.
Like your relative?
No, they're very, very encouraging.
So no one has told you if you practice very hard, perhaps you can be a page turner.
No.
Just you.
Oh.
No, but what do you think would it be fun for you to earn money now playing in restaurants? Or, I mean, is that something you would want to do to
Yes.
earn an income? Or are you too young to do something? I don't know.
No,
I'm sure
I've already
in
been,
weddings.
I've gone to weddings, yes.
Right.
And it's really more the sharing of the music with the public.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to, go as many places as possible, and I try to do, fundraisers and, stuff like that, and really share that music, get the music out there, and say, this is an instrument, it's really fun to play, try it,
Yeah, because like I said, it means a lot. Because sometimes if my husband and I are stressed out, we'll go, let's go to that restaurant that has the harp, just because we had so much fun listening to music that we knew.
It's very therapeutic.
It brought back memories, and
Yeah.
we're just having fun, and we didn't have to shout over it to be heard.
It
I just think
is.
it's
Yeah.
a fabulous
I think
instrument.
among the top relaxation techniques for people
is hearing that music and playing it as well.
to absolutely either devote themselves to something that they can express their emotions, a creative art,
Yeah.
or listening to music and going to a place in their mind that is relaxing.
Yeah.
Julie, in your practice, do you tell people, do you talk about music in your practice to your clients?
Absolutely. There are standard relaxation techniques for stress, and
I find I listen to as much music as I play. I'm always going on YouTube. Oh, I want to look up this, and I want to listen to, violin now. Yeah.
it's what we do. We go to that place where we can express ourselves and our emotions. And I don't have musical talent, but I express myself in different forms of art.
But it seems like you listen to a lot of music,
I
Julie.
do.
I think that is that maybe something that relaxes you?
I find music both relaxing and energizing.
Yes.
We have about a little over a minute left, and Allie, I know that you're located in New Hampshire, but you also play throughout New England.
Yes, I do.
And you can be found on YouTube, and I'm curious if there was something that somebody wanted to know if they were interested in starting the harp. What would be just the 2 words you would want to tell them so they could pursue?
Try it.
Try it. That
And,
works.
Start small, and if you like it, rent a harp. And that's
Right.
always the easiest, cheapest way to try an instrument. Rent any instrument that you want to try. It's wonderful.
I love it. Try it.
Yes.
So Allie Grant, the harpist from New Hampshire, says try it and see if it's a match.
Yes.
Do you have any last thoughts, Lisa?
No. So if you have anything, I don't know when we're going to run out, but go ahead. Do you have any last comment for TV world?
Not really. I mean, the harp is an amazing instrument. If you're not interested in the harp, try another instrument, but I really do recommend because it just is so versatile and
Yeah,
everywhere
that
you can
surprised
play
me
it.
how
Right.
versatile it was. So.
Yes.
Yeah, and renting definitely seems like a good option.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for joining us on Doers and Dreamers.
Congratulations on your new book also, Lisa.
Oh, thank you.
I know that you're always doing exactly what we talk about here, turning dreams into reality.
Well, thank you for joining us. Hope you come back next week.
Thank you.
Bye.